Hey everyone, welcome back to Unsolicited Bourbon Reviews, episode 18. And today we're reviewing Chattanooga Whiskey Company Cask Strength 111 Straight Bourbon Whiskey. This is one of my favorite offerings from Chattanooga Whiskey Company. They have a few that are rotating around. They have their regular Chattanooga whiskey. They have a port finish. They have a new one, a Scotch finish. And this is my preferred, which is the Cask Strength 111 straight bourbon whiskey. So, again, the mash bill is 75% corn, 25% malted barley. The malted mix or barley mix is undisclosed, but it does have malted rye, caramel malted barley, and some honey malted barley. But again, that's the rest of the mash bill. Chattanooga whiskey keeps that pretty close to the chest, but this is fairly popular here in the area due to it being within really close proximity to the Nashville area, only about, I'd say about an hour and a half, hour 45 away. I got turned on to this about 2.5 years ago. And again, I was looking for some Blanton's or an allocated item, and some of the stores said, hey, look, you should, really try this. This is, pretty much comparable to what you'd be looking for. So I took a chance on it, and here I am 3 years later, still drinking it, and now we're reviewing it. So we'll go ahead, open it up. So this is they say it's a greater than 2 year, but from what I understand, from everything I've read on it, and just kind of talking to folks who are really familiar, they're pretty consistent 2 year bourbons or 2 year bottles. So it's really interesting because, again, the color on this looks more of a mature bourbon or whiskey, as you could say, which is, again, really intriguing. So again, if you would ask me, hey, is this a 2 year or less, or 2 year, I probably would have said no, it's probably closer to at least a 4 year. So that's a interesting fact about it, interesting take on it, and I think that's kind of how Chattanooga whiskey, they kind of get a bad beat, just because they don't really have the aging, and they kind of done everything on their own. They're not an MGP, they don't outsource. So with that being said, again, a lot of their offerings are going to be on the more young side. So we'll pour it, we'll talk about it. Smell, again, you definitely have that caramel smell, toffee smell just on that cork itself. And this is, again, it's had some time. So I opened this a couple months ago, again, trying to knock it out and drink some other stuff. But, this would definitely taste a little different if you just open it up. So again, that's one of the advantages of opening a bottle and coming back to it and revisiting. So maybe we'll be able to do a side-by-side comparison one day. But again, I think it's the advantage, to kind of get some air in there and let it kind of be able to breathe, and I think it does change the profile, especially with younger bourbons and whiskeys. So smell, again, that color. I mean, again, this is very nice gold color. It's a little bit darker for what I would pay it to be for a 2 year, but this is unfiltered. It's a cask strength, so again, it's not distilled any further. It's a straight pour from the barrel into the bottom, and again, has its sediment from it for not being filtered, which, again, being uncut, unfiltered, is a very popular, we'll say, popular setting or popular pour for these bottles. So go ahead, smell it. Again, very smooth. Butterscotch. This may have some dried fruit. I taste cherry, for that dried fruit. Again, very good finish, 111. You don't feel on the front end, but the back end, again, in the throat, you do feel the finish. You get that heat in there, but that Kentucky hug. This is definitely a very good pour for, again, being around 2 years. It is 111 proof, so again, that's what has it. That flavor of it being, again, not filtered. So the caramel, vanilla, very, very routine, very basic flavors. I think that, again, that butterscotch, that dried fruit, I think that's something very notable with this. Yeah, so we'll go ahead and rate it. Again, that finish is excellent. It's long. Again, you do feel that heat of the 111, but you don't feel it on the front end, which makes this really an easy sipper, an easy drinker. And again, it has a lot of flavor. It's more on the sweet side, with the vanilla, caramel, butterscotch, and that fruit note with that. So for the value, so MSRP is around 40 bucks, 111 proof. I think the value is there. I think the price point is there, and just overall flavor. So I would give this a 7 all around, and it's a good buy. It's good to have the rotation, and something just a little bit different, from a smaller distillery. But that'll do it for today. I appreciate